Hello and welcome back. So this year's theme seems to be third time's a charm. My Princess Leia painting, which was in my other video, actually drew that 3 times. I just, for some reason, just couldn't get it to look like her. And this one, now, this is the first one. Now, this is not a bad painting. It's just that the colors, and it looks like he's on a water wave when it's really supposed to be a, air, blustery day, not like a wave or anything. So I had redrawn it, and I was filming it and painting it, and it just, I don't know, it just was not turning out. And now we're going to try it again. But this time I'm going to cover Piglet in some liquid mask. I apologize for the lack of audio on these clips. It seems the mic on my webcam died. So I'm going to have to do manual narration. So one thing you want to keep in mind when you're using liquid mask is 1, use a crappy brush, and 2, make sure you use a lot of water or you'll get clumping and you won't be able to get those fine details saved. Now that the liquid mask is dry, I'm going to lay clear water because I want a nice smooth wash for the background. And the brush I'm using is a Princeton Neptune No. 6 quill. I really like this brush for doing background work because it holds a lot of water and a lot of paint. I didn't want to paint the whole background. I just wanted a little shape around the main focus, which is Piglet in the umbrella. To soak up the excess water, I am taking a paper towel and I'm crumpling it to get an interesting shape, to give the background some interest. Previously, I didn't realize that I had used the wrong blue. I had bought this set from Amazon by Grace Art, and it has this really nice cerulean blue that I used in my previous Winnie the Pooh painting. So one of the things I wanted to talk about was removing liquid mask. Now I know you'll be tempted to just pick at it and pull it off, but don't, because you will destroy the surface of your paper, especially if you are planning on painting it. So what you want to do is just gently roll it off. That way you're preserving the surface of your paper. I did a little more research before I started this version of this painting, and I saw that some of the illustrations showed that Christopher Robin's umbrella was purple, and other illustrations showed that it was a dark blue-black, so I decided to use Payne's Gray. Payne's Gray is a really great color because depending on how thick you use the paint, it could look black or it could look like a very dark blue. Actually, it's one of my favorite colors. You'll notice that I'm painting, I'm trying to preserve the wind lines that go around the umbrella, but I end up rethinking it later on. See, this is where I start rethinking it, and I wasn't really happy with the way that it was turning out. Though I did want to soften the lines, because I think they were a little too harsh. So there's this technique I use a lot. It's called lifting. It's where you lay down a thick-ish layer of paint and then you come back with a clean brush and you wipe in, I don't know, if you want to create lines, you can do like a really thin line, or you can do a broad stroke to remove a broader amount of paint. But the whole area is wet when you're doing this, and it gives I really like this effect. For the wind, I was going to use a very watered down P.H. Martin's liquid watercolor carbon black, because it would be a nice gray, but I decided to just go ahead and use light washes of Payne's Gray with a Winsor & Newton Series 7 liner brush, with the intention of coming back with either white acrylic or a white colored pencil or my white gel pen to give some accents. And now we get to paint Piglet's little outfit. I'm gonna start with sap green, and I'll add burnt umber for shadows and shading. Normally I like to mix my own flesh tones. I never buy pre-made tubes of flesh tone watercolor. But when I bought this set of Hobie watercolors, it came with a tube of Jean Brilliant No. 2, and it's a little opaque. I only use it in certain circumstances, like it's actually the perfect color for Piglet. And when you add a little bit of alizarin crimson, it gives it this perfect little blushing. If you want to give your flesh tones life, when you do your shading, don't use brown. Use purple, use green. It gives the flesh tone a nice vibrancy. You'll see that I'm going to start mixing a little bit of mineral violet and some burnt sienna into the color so that I can start building up the shadows and the shading. So right about here, I'm discussing the fact that that bottom leaf is not popping the way that I would like. So I get out some gouache. And I use little disposable plastic lids. I'm using permanent yellow, yellow ochre, and like cadmium red light, I believe. At this point, I decided against using any black for the details in his face, so I mixed up Payne's Gray, Mineral Violet, and Sap Green just to create a dark color. I will also use this color to do some of the detailing in the leaves, like the veins and the stems. So the acrylic that I like to use in my paintings is by Folk Art, and the colors that I like are like for the highlights in the flesh tones or on the faces is either antique white or this antique parchment. The color actually matches the color of my paper, so if I make a mistake, I could usually use one of those two colors to correct it, and it dries super flat, so there won't be any sheen. So here I'm using two different kinds of colored pencils. This one is a polychromos. It's different from like Prismacolor because it's an oil base, plus I think it has a finer pigment. I don't know. They seem to remind me of Conte pencils, which are like pastel pencils. And then the only thing is sometimes over watercolor they don't present as bright as like a like if you want that stark white. I think the Prismacolor does work better in this instance. And then this is my Sakura Jelly Roll pen, which I absolutely love. Another reason I really like this folk art paint is that it mixes really well with watercolors. You can use the watercolor to tint like the white or off-white or antique white paints, and I just like the way that it turns out. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more, please subscribe. I'll be uploading a new video every 2 weeks. Thanks so much for watching.